black private dick. That's a sex machine to all the chicks. You damn right.
Welcome to another live Radical Republican show, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am your host, the J Black Mamba Jerome Bell on X. We are live on Roku TV. We are live on Rumble. About 4 different channels of Rumble. We are on America Happens Network. We are on the Maverick Broadcasting Network. We're on the Radical Republicans live show Rumble channel and also the Jerome Bell Rumble channel. We are on Clout Hub. We're on Facebook. We are on YouTube. And we just continue to just grow and grow. But definitely can't grow without you all. So thank you for tuning in here because, you know, we bring it unfiltered, uncensored, unedited, unscripted, and most of all, unapologetic truth. And my motto is, if you don't like what I'm saying, turn the channel, keep scrolling, just keep it moving. Keep it moving. Because we're not all going to agree. Not 100% of the time anyway, I would hope. I'm just sending shout outs to everyone. I sent them out in a minute. Let's finish this intro. Let's hit my sponsors here. Then we'll just go with the show. So tonight, I have a nice little playlist. I'm not the real big AI guy, right? But, you know, I was messing around with Grok, or Grok, however you say it on X, right? So I had Grok make me a playlist for my show, intro songs, outro songs. So from here on out, we're gonna be playing songs, of course, that Shaft, because you know that's my major intro before the show. So we're always gonna keep that. But we got Grok that's gonna be feeding us the songs, the intro and outro, until I override Grok and be like, all right, man, all right, lady or whatever. Actually, it's a lady that talks. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Of course, I can change the voice to a man or whatever, but why do I want to hear a man talk to me? Huh? Why do I want to hear a man talk to me? Well, we got tonight, we got Jaime Colon, my brother, my Navy brother, Jaime Colon, recently, not too long ago, retired Navy Chief Petty Officer, gonna be in the 9 o'clock hour. We're gonna be talking about some of this transgender in the Navy stuff. He can talk a little more freely and honestly now since he's out. So Jamie's gonna bring it to you, but yeah, let me hit the sponsor first. Let's go with the wellness company tonight. In today's unpredictable world with health emergencies escalating from the recent measles outbreak in Texas and New Mexico to the surge in dengue cases across the Americas, it's imperative to be prepared for any situation. The wellness company, a trusted name in health preparedness, offers a comprehensive range of emergency medical kits designed to equip you for unforeseen crises. The medical emergency kit must have providing a curated section of essential medications and supplies to address common emergencies, ensuring you're not left vulnerable when immediate medical attention isn't accessible. For those concerned about potential outbreaks, the Contagion Emergency Kit offers vital tools and protective gear to help safeguard you and your loved ones during viral threats. Additionally, their First Emergency Aid Kit is a versatile solution ideal for treating minor injuries and ailments, making it an indispensable addition to your home, car, or workplace. So visit twc.health/MBN today and use code MBN for an exclusive 10% discount off your order. Ensure you're prepared for whatever comes next with the wellness company's emergency kits. Because at times like these, readiness is not just an option, it's a necessity. It's a necessity. All right. So I'm feeling a little slow today. I took a nap before the show. You know, I get up early in the morning, right? So I took a nap before the show and I'm feeling a little slow. A little slow today. All right, but anyway, so Carolyn, good evening over there on YouTube. Good evening over there on YouTube. We see you, Doobly. We see who is this up here? My brother's keeper over here on Getter, and some others tuning in on Getter, and they're just filtering in. So see you guys over on Rumble as well. So thank you very much for tuning in. I know Susan's out there listening, grading papers. She just got back on vacation, I heard. She just got back. So that's a good thing. All right. So, I was going to start the show off with something, but I'm going to start with since this is the biggest news, I guess, right now. I don't know if it's a distraction. I think the timing of it is a little suspect myself, and I'm going to read why in a second, I guess. I'm going to read from a doctor, but I'm talking about Joe Biden. Joe Biden being diagnosed with prostate cancer in aggressive form, from what I'm understanding, right? It's an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has metastasized into his bones. So I'm going to read something from Dr. Stephen Quay here on X real quick. And Dr. Stephen Quay says, prostate cancer is the easiest cancer to diagnose. Men, okay, y'all know how we do it. Now they got a PSA blood test they have too, but when it first starts to be bad or whatever, and to watch it progress to bone metastasis. The PSA blood test shows the rate of cancer cell growth. So that's the blood test that men get for prostate cancer. For even the most aggressive form, this is what Dr. Stephen Quay says. For even the most aggressive form, it is a 5 to 7 year, and I've seen some other doctors on X say 10 years. It says 10 years, but it is a 5 to 7 year journey without treatment before it becomes metastatic, or metastatic, I should say. But so meaning it would be malpractice for this patient to show up and be first diagnosed with a metastasized disease in May 2025. So you're talking about Biden, right? It is highly likely he was carrying a diagnosis of prostate cancer throughout his White House tenure, and the American people were uninformed. So this is what Dr. Quay said. And they've been hiding a bunch of things. We're going to get into some of the things they've been hiding with Biden, and this just may be one of them. Biden could have had prostate cancer during his entire presidency, and the doctors lied about it, gave him a clean bill of health, because we know they lied about his mental health. All of them lied about his mental decline. So they may have, not, told the world, I guess, about this as well. Now, here's my theory on that, because Joe Biden has come up on TV a few times, and we don't know if he really got the jab right. We don't know if that was sugar water in the needle, or if he really got the jab. And he said he's been double boosted, double and triple boosted, and we know that people that have gotten the jab and double, triple boosted or whatever, and they're coming down with these turbo cancers. And here's my theory. My theory is that if he is jabbed, okay, if he is jabbed officially, if he's truly jabbed, then it's possible that this may be a turbo cancer on Joe Biden. It may be a turbo cancer on Joe Biden. And I'm gonna read something because it's pretty funny. I'm up on X. I'm reading the different. People are saying they're praying for Joe Biden, and a lot of I guess a lot of the Republicans, they're praying for Joe Biden, and I just happen to not really be one of those people, because I know Joe Biden destroyed thousands of black nuclear families with his crime bill. Generations of nuclear families. I know Joe Biden was all for killing black babies in the womb. And I guess it's hard for me to have sympathy for, I guess, a guy that he's one of the biggest racists, or has been one of the biggest racists of my lifetime, in sitting in Congress and at the um as the president of the United States as well, right? And so I'm reading like Dilly. Okay, Brendan Dilly. Brendan Dilly is I've been following Brendan Dilly for a long time, for a long, long time. And he's one of those hardcore dudes, he's one of those hardcore dudes. And I'm on his timeline, talking about uh, Biden and his cancer or whatever. And this is what Dilly says. Shout out to Warlord Dilly on X, man. Love you, Brendan. Brendan actually ran for Congress back in 2020 when I ran for Congress as well. He was in Arizona then. Now Dilly is gotten big time badass. He's down in Florida now, but he actually sits in the press room now at the White House on different days. He's been in there. He's able to ask a few questions, but so I'm reading Brendan's timeline, man. It's just pretty much accurate about how I feel too. So this is what he said: Americans are so easy to psyop. Release a fake diagnosis for a criminal who destroyed millions of lives just as his crimes are coming to light. Just got to make sure the type of cancer is one of the most common, so you can gain maximum virtue signaling from the masses. Hey man, I'm sort of with you on there, Brendan. To be honest, man. I'm sort of there with you, and and other than that, and it may be bad. People are gonna say, "Man, you're not godly," and you should pray for your enemies and all this stuff. I know what Joe Biden did to my people, man. I'm sorry. I just know what he's done. I know what he stood for. He thought that we were animals. He thought that we were, he didn't want his family living in the jungle, out in the jungle with us, right? We needed to be put away, and we were deplorable. Just all of this stuff, man, right? Literally just all this stuff. So, I see the Republicans, and here's the thing too, and these Republicans that are out here sitting in Congress, and they're praying for him, like Anna Paulina Luna, who I think is a secret Democrat anyway. She put out, okay, we're praying for his recovery. Are we really? This is the same guy that put Jay Sixers in prison. This is the same guy who's tried. His administration has tried to put President Trump in prison for 75 years. They wanted him to die in prison. This is the same guy that opened up the borders to millions, 30 million, 20 million, however many million you want to say, but he opened the borders to millions of illegals into our country. He made us less safe. He's caused how many numerous lives here in the United States? Joseph Olson, hey Joe. So Joe said, fuck Joe Biden gave America turbo DNC cancer. DNC, and Carolyn says, I would never pray for a politician simply because you're supposed to have a clean heart on the prayer. Politicians are of some of the same breed that Jesus turned the tables over and whipped at the temple. Absolutely. Absolutely. Joe Biden would have been getting his ass whipped by Jesus, we think. So that's just my person. You guys, feel how you feel. That's cool and everything, but I'm just not saying it. I'm just not saying it. Here it is to Laura Loomer. I remember Laura Loomer. She said back 2024 when he was in Las Vegas that he was terminally ill because he took terminally ill. She came out. She's been the one person. You can love or hate Laura Loomer. I don't care. What you think about her. She has receipts. So I'm going to read a post from Laura Loomer. And Ann Vandersteel says that 100% that anyone who knew about his condition needs to be indicted. Absolutely. And I'm going to play a clip from. I mean, and this includes the press. This includes the mainstream media. I'm gonna play some clips about of the Ben Hur. I don't know if you all heard that. I will play a little bit of that too. But the Hur, audio is out. Now you got all these cucks out here writing books now because they know Joe Biden's about to die probably. So now they're all writing books. They're man, screw you guys, man. Screw you guys in your books. But Laura says here's what Laura. I wish I could bring Laura on right now. Laura, I haven't hit her up in a while, but anyway, everyone is saying they hope Biden recovers. He's not going to recover. I mean, and also, I had a friend, if you guys know my manager, Kim, she had ended up getting terminal lung cancer and it got into her bones or whatever. And my wife's a nurse and I've heard doctors, once that shit get into your bones, it's a done wrap. And they say that this has metastasized into his bones, right? So Laura says he's not going to recover. We need to have a conversation about how the media lied to all of us, and we had an illegitimate, terminally ill occupant of the White House for over a year, probably longer than that. But she says Biden has been terminally ill since July 2024. We need to accept reality and start investigations. This is the biggest scandal to ever come out of the White House. Who cares about cigars inside a vagina when we are facing fabricated medical records and abuse of an auto pen to cover for a terminally ill man who stole the election? There is no recovering when you're terminal. Absolutely, Laura. Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is the biggest story. This is the biggest story that's going to, it's going to be all over the airwaves next week, unless, the mainstream media may not touch it, to be honest. But how can they not, right? How can they not? How can they not cover this? They may cover it, yeah, he's terminally ill and try to, placate and, try to get some sympathy for Joe Biden and not touch the real deal. But the real deal is that I believe the entire Joe Biden presidency has been a fraud because I believe and ran on it that the 2020 election was stolen. I ran on that. And somebody's been running the government and it hasn't been Joe Biden. And my thing, whoever had authorization, whoever had the auto pen, whoever was signing for Joe Biden with the auto pen needs to be tried for treason and brought up on charges as well. And so, so you'll probably hear about it next week, but maybe not in this context. Maybe not. You like I said, you may see more Republicans praying for Joe Biden than, asking the hard questions like Laura, right? And thank you, Laura, for that post. Appreciate that. So I'm gonna play a clip. Yeah, our girl Kim. Absolutely. Loomer gets it right 98% of the time. She does. You can hate Laura Loomer. A lot of people, because she's hard, man. Laura comes hard, and but she has the receipts though. She literally has the receipts. And Joe says that Lindy Lee, hedge fund and DNC officer, Joe Biden counsel was Anita Dunn, Mike Donovan, and Steve Fischetti. So all those people knew. And they were just, Lindy Lee kept, raising money for Joe Biden. I believe she knew, even though she went on the tour on the Fox News and on the conservative radio shows and TV show tour, saying how upset she was and how her donors were upset. I think she knew. I think Lindy Lee knew. I think she was just trying to CYA, right, on that. And so I'm going to play a little bit of this Ben Hur, Biden, this audio for you all, and let's check it out.
We were living in Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer booster shot or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying. And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. I'm not being, it's not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I might run for office again. If I ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening though, what month did Bo die? May 30th,
2015.
was it 2015 he died?
2015.
I think it's 2015.
I'm not sure the months are, but I think that was.
Yeah.
That's right, Mr. President.
And what's happened in the meantime is that Trump gets elected in November of 2017? 2016. All right. So, why do I have 2017 here?
That's when you left office, January of 2017.
Okay. But that's when Trump gets sworn in.
Right.
January.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Yeah. And in 2017, Bo had passed, and this is personal. The genesis of the book and the title, Promise Me Dad, was I know you're all close with your sons and daughters, but Bo was like my right arm, and that was my left. These guys were a year and a day apart, and they could finish each other's sentences. And Bo, I used to go home on the train in the period that I was still in the Senate. Anyway, do you remember? There was not pressure. Bo knew how much I adored him. And maybe this sounds so, everybody knew how close we were. There was not anybody in the world who wondered whether or not, anyway. And so.
Sir, I'm wondering if this is a good time to take a break. Briefly.
No, let me just keep going to get it done.
All right, so here's a tape. That was just 4 minutes. Here's a 5 hour. That lasted about 5 hours, that whole interview. And so he came out with the diagnosis, I guess, or whatever, that he was not competent. He would not be competent to stand trial if he was convicted of anything. And so they pretty much let Joe Biden, and they covered that up. They covered it up. And even though we saw what we saw, right? Okay, so it started with the, I guess the gala where they were raising money out there with Obama, and Obama, I have a clip of it. And Obama, he, had to pretty much lead Joe off stage, right? And so, we were saying, and then the mainstream media, they all covered it up, saying that what? Those are cheap fakes, right? Right? Remember that? Remember that when they were telling us that those were cheap fakes, right? And so now all of these assholes now, all of them are coming out now because they're writing books. Jake Tapper is the biggest one. Jake Tapper should go to prison. He should not be able to write a book. The book should not be published. He should not be able to make money from his book because obviously he knew. They all knew. They all knew. So I'm going to play some clips because, like I've always said, conspiracy theorists are undefeated. We are still undefeated to this day. To this day, we are undefeated, and we continue to because it might just take a little bit, right? It might take 6 months or a year, but we all come out on top and we all come out undefeated. Though those who dare like I do to go ahead and put it out on the line early, right? To put it out on the line early. I have a group, I'm not going to say their name, but apparently I have a group out here, man, that nicknamed their group of my name, and they follow me, right? And they follow my conspiracy theories. But they say I'm always right. Hey, but I think I'm about at 98% too, right, Mary? I see Mary. Say Loomer gets it right about 98% of the time. I think I get it right about 99% of the time. Shit. I mean, but I go out on limbs, man. I mean, because it's a gut thing. When you're outside of the matrix, I say this over and over. I know I do. But when you are outside of the matrix, you see shit for what it is. I mean, you just know. I mean, and things come to you, right? Things come to you. I mean, people send you stuff that come to you, through the air. God sends you things down to your bones and, make you say things, that you probably normally wouldn't say, because it might sound crazy, right? Might sound crazy, but I think I was one of the first ones that came out against the jab too, especially in Virginia Beach. I ran against them. I'm like, no way I'm taking that, man. I'm out, man. They were shutting down the city, putting masks on. I'm out supporting, locally owned businesses, coffee shops that was having to shut down because they were getting no clients. Man, I'm all up in there, and I remember, I used to put up the numbers of recoveries, not the number of deaths. So those that used to follow me on Facebook, right? While the mainstream media and everyone was putting out the death toll, I was putting out the recovery toll, and the recovery toll was 98%, 98.7, 97.3%, I think, at the worst. Recovery rate. The recovery rate from COVID, not the deaths from COVID. I think more people have died from the jab. And this may be something, like I say, that Joe Biden got. He was up on TV getting the jab. Maybe he might be coming back. But they talked about that we were, those are cheap fakes. You didn't see what you saw. Joe Biden's okay. You had Joe Scarborough talking about he's the best he's ever been. And he, and just all this. I need to find that clip from Joe Scarborough. But here, I'm going to play a couple.
The White House press secretary used the phrase cheap fakes, the idea of cheap fakes. Let me explain what that is to people. We've been worried for years about AI deep fakes, that computer-generated images are going to trick people into believing something that's totally false. Cheap fakes are a little bit simpler. They're cheap. They're just distorted, out-of-context videos, chopped up in certain ways, constructed in certain ways. That's what we're seeing. That's what the Biden administration, the Biden campaign is so worried about right now. But make no mistake, they are worried about this. This is a real problem. This is not some made-up fiction. The videos are oftentimes made up, but the problem is real.
There's a growing and insidious trend in right-wing media, broadcast, print, and social media. It is to take highly misleading and selectively edited videos of President Biden directly from Republican National Committee social media accounts and then use those videos to spread messages virally to cast doubt on President Biden's fitness for office. Here is this headline from the New York Post, quote, Biden appears to freeze up, has to be led off stage by Obama at Megabucks LA fundraiser. The full video posted by Biden finance chair on Twitter shows something entirely different. Biden reacting to applause and then walking off stage with former President Obama. It comes less than 1 week after the New York Post made a cover out of another piece of deceptively edited tape, calling him meanderer-in-chief due to what they claim was Biden walking away during a skydiving demonstration during the G7 summit last week. The only problem is that the full video, which emerged almost instantly, shows Biden was going over to congratulate one of the skydivers who's cropped out of the video entirely. Both the articles are based on cheap fakes, videos of real events that are intentionally manipulated to fool viewers, released on an RNC opposition research social media account with zero independent fact-checking by these so-called journalists and spread throughout the right-wing ecosystem.
Cheap fakes. Said they were cheap fakes. We were wrong. We didn't see what we saw, man. They were cheap fakes. I want to play another one. I have to make a little run real quick, turn my water off on my pool. So I'm going to play this one here.
I know you got to go. I appreciate your time today. We'll see you soon, I hope.
And this is Chuck Schumer. He didn't want to answer the question. I actually cut this a little short. But she was asking him questions about this, about Joe Biden. He just said he didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about it, but this is a CNN panel.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
He is among the people that are responsible for this. The leaders of the Democratic Party, the staff of the White House. And I have to say, I find everybody now talking to these authors, get out of here. Go home. You're part of the problem. Now you tell us? So I find, the reason why the Democratic Party has less credibility today. Here's an unpopular president, and the Democratic Party has a worse rating than the Republican Party with this catastrophic governance that we've seen over the last 120 days. And yet, why is the Democratic Party in worse shape? Because of this distrust, because of this, frankly, what the public feels as if the party leadership let them down and let this happen. He's as responsible as anybody else. He was a leader in the party. He could have said something.
And so are you, Chuck Todd. You see how they're turning? They're turning on each other, man. Can you believe these assholes, man? Right? Yeah. I mean, they're trying to sell books. They're trying to save. Nobody watches CNN, MSNBC no more, right? Let me see if this is the Joe Scarborough clip. I don't know if this is it or not, but let me check it out. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm checking. Hold on. Before I pull it to the stage, if this is the one. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to try to pull this one to the stage because it's unreal. I'll play this other one first though before I try to pull that because it might not. And so there's another lie. Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper's one of the worst people. One of the worst people out here. I mean, you had the ladies on The View. You had MSNBC. You had Rachel Madcow and Scarborough. Just all of these people say that we were wrong, man. We were right-wing conspiracy theorists. Right, man. They say we were crazy. They, called us all these names. Right? Remember that? You guys remember that? And I'm supposed to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pray for you, Joe Biden. I don't know, man. God may get me for that, but hey, I'm like Jesus. I'm turning over some tables in the temple, damn it.
President Obama, because there was a moment at that fundraiser, and that fundraiser really was a key moment for a lot of people in this history, which you so brilliantly document. But President Biden walked down to the end of the stage of this fundraiser for a moment. You can see it right there, and seemed to stare a little blankly into the crowd, and then President Obama tugged on him. You saw that tug and led him off the stage. So you just said you spoke to a lot of people who were there for that. What else did they tell you about it?
Well, Obama's side of that story is he wasn't sure what was going on, but he just wanted to get out of there, and he wasn't going to get out of there without Biden, so he grabbed him, and it was more just his impatience than anything else. But other people who were there, and we should note that the Biden White House falsely, when people showed that clip and asked what was going on, said it was a cheap fake. They did this all the time when there was video that seemed to show Biden acting in an odd or unusual, seemingly out of it way. They would call it a cheap fake. It was not fake. It was actual video. And people in the arena who did not see the horrifying scene behind the stage, but in the arena, Congresswoman Annie Kuster, Jon Favreau, former Obama chief speechwriter, and others, just from that event and Biden walking towards the edge of the stage, thought, oh my God, something is wrong here. He's not going to make it.
Okay. So you see that? Okay. Okay, now you heard that. I ran out to my pool, right? I had to like I said, I was running water in my pool and whew, trying to get back before that clip ended. But anyway, I mean this is what they do. And so now they're turning on poor Joe. Poor Joe has, prostate cancer. Now they're turning on Joe. You see that? You see how they are, man? The Democrats aren't worth they aren't worth anything. Let's just say that. They are not worth anything. And so we were right. Again, they were wrong as usual. And they covered it up. And some people need to be held accountable. These weak ass Republicans, right? They need to hold these people accountable. Who had the pen? Who had the auto pen? Who was truly running this country? Are you all concerned about that? I mean, because I said before, we were vulnerable. We were vulnerable to attack. I believe we were. I mean, I guess I guess the world really, now that I think about it, I mean, they were getting everything they wanted from the Biden administration. Ukraine was getting everything. Russia was able to do whatever they wanted. China pretty much did whatever they wanted except take Taiwan, but they were, killing us. They're bringing fentanyl over. They're sending all of their other women over to the United States to have babies in these baby factory hotels so they can be citizens. And that's one thing, man. I hope, and I've lost faith in the Supreme Court, but, the Trump administration is up there arguing birthright citizenship, which should not really be an argument. It's in the 14th Amendment, and these people are not citizens. The 14th Amendment were not for them. We're not for them. But they're arguing, Trump is trying to put a stop to it officially through the Supreme Court with the Supreme Court ruling. Man, but the way the Supreme Court, you got Coney Barrett, you got freaking Justice Roberts. I mean, you only have really, it seemed like true conservatives on the court right now, and that's Alito and Justice Thomas. I mean, damn, what happened to, there's other people that, we should be 6'2" all day long. Literally. We're 6'3". We should be 6'3" all day long on votes. So I have no more faith in the Supreme Court. I mean, at some point, I don't know what it's going to take to really put this country back on track, because we have weak ass Republicans sitting in Congress that take more vacations than work. They take more vacations than work, and they're not passing President Trump's agenda. They're not getting things through. And we're coming up on another election cycle, 2026. I mean, literally, you get to September, right? Because you're going to be talking about primaries and shit, May, June 2026. And you get to September, October, these motherfuckers aren't going to do anything. They're not going to do nothing because why? They want to get reelected, and every one of them should get put out of office. Every one of them. But they got the money. They got, these people brainwashed. They got them brainwashed, man. But they've really done nothing in Congress. All of the, and we control the House and the Senate, so there's no reason. All these executive orders that President Trump has signed, they need to be put into law. They need to be put into law for America. Because just like before, nothing is put into law. If we lose the presidential, if they steal it again, they're just going to overturn everything. And we're going to be back to ground zero and probably -10, because guess what? The Democrats play for keeps. They're going to take some ground. They're going to take ground back. But, man, these Republicans are sad. They are sad. And so, and these are the same people, that Biden would have put your asses in jail. Biden wanted you to go to, Biden would have put you in jail to save his ass. Right? And so the Supreme Court did make, I guess, one decision, I guess, on transgender rights. And I'm gonna have, I'm gonna save that until Jamie come on. I'm gonna save those 2 clips until Jamie come on. But I guess the other biggest thing was this thing with Comey. Let me play this clip.
You have spent decades building a reputation for being evidence-based, for being nonpartisan. The FBI is an organization that is supposed to be evidence-based and nonpartisan. Do you worry that by painting this stark portrait of President Trump and suggesting that the American people should vote for something other than the lack of values that he represents in your construct, that you are sullying both the brand of Comey and the brand of the FBI?
Yeah, I don't think so, and I certainly hope not, because I'm not criticizing President Trump because he's a Republican or because he has a certain view on taxes or immigration or anything else. I'm criticizing him on the grounds of values, which is at the center of the FBI, and something that should be at the center of all of our evaluations of our leaders. So I get that it's relevant to politics, but I see it as something actually more important than partisan politics.
A few years later.
Investigation has just been launched into the former FBI director, James Comey, for posting a threat to the life of the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Comey, not a fan of Trump, posted a picture of shells on a beach that say 8647. The caption, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." Why the numbers 86 and 47? The number 86 is common military code to take out someone or something. And Trump...
All right, hold on, I'm going to stop it right there. Cool. Here's what this fool is. Law enforcement, FBI director, right? I mean, we all know this. Cool. He said, cool shell formation on my beach walk. But let me show you something before I finish that. And that's not the first time this has happened, right? That's not the first time this has happened by a Democrat. Let me show you something from Gretchen Whitmer. Gretchen Whitmer's interview, she was on Meet the Press. This is on Meet the Press. You see this back here? That says 8645. She's on Meet the Press and just happened to have an 8645 right in the camera. Right in the camera. They're putting it right in your face. Why do you keep letting these damn Democrats play in your faces, Republicans? This is Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, says when President Trump was the 45th president of the United States, she has 8645 in the camera. In the camera. You all didn't hear about that, did you? I'm going to take you all never even heard about that. It happens over and over, man. And then, you have, Secret Service goes to James Comey's house. I'll finish this first. Hold on.
47th president. When people caught on, Comey tried to cover it up. He deleted the post and replaced it with this, quote, "I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down." A political message? I don't think so. He's the former FBI director. He had the codes. He knows what it means. Trump's already faced 2 assassination attempts. Comey should know better, and let's be honest, he probably does. The White House says it's taking the threat seriously, and it's all hands on deck. The FBI, DHS, and the Secret Service are now investigating the threat and will respond appropriately. He deserves to be interrogated. Did he really just stumble upon this thing during a beach walk? How do we know he wasn't the one who lined up the shells? He's been caught in so many lies already.
There it is right there. How do we know? How do we know it wasn't you, Comey? Well, I have something. I have something. Hold on one second. I have something, and this is what Comey had to say about that, okay? This is what Comey had to say about that. That question that he just asked about that. This is a spoof, but hey, this is classic. So he answers that question.
Smart guy, right? You were director of the FBI and shit like that. Like, you wouldn't be stupid enough to leave your DNA on those seashells, right?
I kind of messed up. Me and my boyfriend were having strawberry margaritas, and to be completely honest, my ass is still sore, not because of my boyfriend, but because President Trump shit-canned me 8 years ago. So I did the seashells thingy. I posted it on Instagram, and like 5 minutes later, everyone else was up my ass. So I went out to get rid of them, and fucking Kash Patel was picking them up with latex gloves and shit. So I guess I'll just have to find a new boyfriend in prison then.
Who does that, man? Who did that? You killed the internet that day, man. That killed the internet. Of course, that was an AI. That was that wasn't real. Don't arrest me. Don't come to my house. But anyway, so the Secret Service supposedly had taken him in, right, and questioned him, but then they released him with no charges. No charges. Right? Who? Which one of you, show of hands or text or whatever you want to put out there, right? Which one of us, I guess, could have done that and not been charged or not probably still been in jail or at least being interrogated to the utmost, right? Man, I mean, how is this guy going to fix his mouth and lie? He say, well, I didn't know, hey, it was a cool symbol, shells thingy. That was classic, man. I like that, that spook. But my boy is here, man. I'll bring my boy in a second. I'll bring him in a moment. Jamie's here. But, I mean, but who has that? You know, who's able to do that? This is the former FBI director. He supposedly is walking away free. I have some other things, man. The Democrats are losing their minds too, right? The Democrats are totally losing their mind. But first, I'm going to talk to, this is one thing that I think SCOTUS maybe, you know, got right, you know, and well, at least a little bit. I think they put some dates on it. So they didn't get it completely right. But these, on the transgenders, on allowing President Trump administration, Pete Hegseth, to discharge transgenders. I'm going to play a clip first.
Trump administration to begin enforcing a ban on transgender service members. The justices were, however, divided on this. Let's go to CNN Chief Legal Affairs correspondent Paula Reed. Paula, tell us what the court decided here.
Brianna, this is a big victory for the Trump administration. As you may remember, this ban is one of the first policies that President Trump put forth during the early days of his administration, but it has been tied up, like many of his policies, in the lower courts. But his lawyers kept telling me that they were confident if they could get this policy and many others before the conservative supermajority at the Supreme Court, that they would be allowed to proceed. And here the Supreme Court is allowing the administration to move forward with a ban on transgender individuals in military service. Now, under this ban, service members who have a current diagnosis or history of or exhibit symptoms consistent with gender dysmorphia will be processed for separation from military service. The Pentagon will also not allow transgender Americans to join any branch of the military. Now, as you noted, the 3 liberal justices dissented from the decision, but did not explain their position. But again, a very notable victory for the administration, because the long game that they are playing here is to try to get all of these policies before the Supreme Court in the hope that most, if not all of them, will ultimately be upheld.
Meanwhile, no, so I think this time is actually like the real deal this time. Like, I think it's actually going to go into effect from what I've seen. It's giving the president the full, like, jurisdiction to kick us out.
Today, the Supreme Court rules that the Trump administration is allowed to implement the transgender military ban for now. This is so messed up on so many freaking levels. Trans people are just as able-bodied, and some even more so than cisgender people, so it doesn't really make sense to me.
Someone bring my boy. Actually, I'm going to play another clip first. Before I bring in Jamie, I have to play some of these lefties losing it clips of the ruling. Hold on.
And it said that the Supreme Court is upholding Trump's ban on transgender people in the military. And I have a question. Actually, I have a proposition, okay? If one person can come in the comments and tell me what is so scary about transgender people, I'll shave my head. But it has to be a valid reason, okay? And I'll give you an example of a valid reason. I think you could ban bears from the military, okay? And I would say banning bears from the military would make a lot of sense. Let me tell you why. Bears are dangerous. Bears don't know if, the person on their side or the person on the other side is the person they're supposed to be eating, okay? So they could eat you, your fellow servicemen, by accident, not knowing, okay? A bear is dangerous, okay? That's a valid, dangerous thing. You can be scared of a bear because they might attack you and they might eat you. I need a valid reason with facts backing it up as to why people are so afraid of transgender people. I need it. And I'll shake my head. If there's a really, real valid, it has to be factual. It has to be, I am scared of a bear because a bear can eat me. I am scared of a transgender person because I don't know if they have a penis under their skirt. Like, what is it? What is it? And don't even try to come up here being like a lot of attacks from transgender people onto other people. Because the facts are that's actually just not true. The facts are white men are still the number one attackers of women. So anyway, a real fact of why people would be afraid of transgender people and why transgender people shouldn't serve in the military. And I'll shake my head if it's valid. Thank you.
Because it didn't start with gas chambers. It started when people looked away. Queer and trans people are being targeted again. This isn't just a history lesson, this is a siren. Welcome to History Echoes Part 26. Because the past never died, it's whispering back. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that trans people are banned from serving in the military. Not because of their actions, but because of who they are. They say it's about readiness, but history has proven it's about control, it's about erasure. Guess who else banned trans people from the military? You guessed it if you're familiar with my series, Yahtzee Germany. Then after banning them from the military, along with the rest of the LGBTQ plus community, they also banned them from schools, from society. They were deported, sterilized, and executed. Imperial Japan did the same thing, labeling them unfit to serve the emperor. Mussolini's Italy, have you ever heard of San Domino Island? Because that's where they were exiled to and abandoned as threats to the regime. In Russia, military bans became propaganda bans. Then the government outlawed transitions entirely. Now trans people can't marry, adopt, or even leave the country, to seek a better life. In Uganda, it started with military exclusions. Now, the state enforces the death penalty for anybody who is queer. In Brazil, they purged the LGBTQ plus community from their military too. Then they removed their rights and their federal protections. In Turkey, gay men had to prove their identity for discharge. Humiliated, documented, and outed in a country where that could result in their death.
Okay, I have a question for Jamie. Jamie, what's up, brother? I have a question for you first off, man. Here we go. What's up, Poppy?
What's up, bro?
Hey, man, so should bears be banned from the military, bro?
I mean, if they're gonna eat sailors or fellow service members, yes, they should.
These people are insane, bro. I'm like, yeah, man, these people are certifiable insane, bro. Insane.
Man.
All right, man. Welcome, like I said, man, back to the Lions Den. I know last time I had you, man, you're a little reserved, man. All right, so you heard the couple of clips, man, and you served with some or recently some transgenders who were going through. Tell us your take on it, brother. Just give us your take, because I know, people say, oh, well, transgenders are not a problem. And to me, I give my take real quick. It's mental illness, and I do not want a mentally ill person holding my six if I'm downrange somewhere. I don't want a mentally ill person in my command, because you never know what they're going to do. They're on these hormones. They're just, unstable. Their brains are unstable. This is why, they call it dysphoria or whatever. And if that's a disease, and if that's something that affects them mentally, mentally ill people cannot serve in the military. But what's your take, brother?
Oh, so first of all, Jerome, thank you for having me. You've been more than not even a brother. You're just straight family in this household. So thank you for having me. I've worked with you for so many years, and we know each other very well. So, and I also have to thank you for helping me get through my naval career and getting me set up so I could succeed in my naval career. But Yeah. All right.
Appreciate that, man.
So first of all, you know, so I want to start by saying, hey, look, everybody sitting here, and the clip that you showed before, then that Mussolini and Hitler, they were going after gay individuals. You didn't really have transgenders at that time. Okay.
Right.
They were going after gay individuals, right? So now you have the new mandate that came out, right? They're going after transgenders. You know what? And the fact that they could even think that a transgender could deploy, they can't. There are medications that limit them what duties they can perform in the military. So what do? They have to sit behind a desk because they have to go appointments. They have to do this. They have to do that. They cannot deploy.
So it is so it is about readiness. So when they say it's not about readiness, that's bullshit. It's definitely and totally about readiness. If they are limited duty and can only sit behind a desk, they can't deploy, they can't go overseas, they can't fulfill their duties under their rating, then they're not.
Guess
It's
what?
about ready. Then they're not ready.
So you're gonna ride a desk for 4 or 5 years just because this is an elective procedure. Let's elective. It's not something that's causing your life. No, you elected to do this. So my whole thing is, if you elected to do this, then you know what? Now the government got smart. Mr. Donald Trump, our commander in chief, president, said we're not going to waste money on that. Because here's the other thing that a lot of your listeners may not know: these surgeries are not cheap, and the government has been flipping the bill. They average anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000
Each.
So each,
And that's and that's not
and that's on the low side.
and that's not including the therapy, that's not including the medications, that's not including the hormones. That's just the surgery itself.
Yes.
To cut a dick
Depending
off
on-
or a penis and open a stink hole up, to call it a vagina. And cut off
depending which way you want to go. But so you got to figure you're going to pay $250,000 for a service member that can't deploy for 5 years. I'm a money guy. If they don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Oh, absolutely. And that's somebody. I mean, and then someone else has to take their place. If they're not deployed, but someone that may have just come back off deployment, they may be the same rating. This can't go, so this person has to go back. I have to leave their family again. Have to leave their children, their wives, their lifestyle back home. To deploy again because this person is not medically able to go.
Yeah. So, President Trump, his commander in chief, and Secretary Hegseth said, "Hey, we're all about deployment readiness." So, guess what? If you're not deployment ready, why do we want to keep you around? I mean, it's just plain and simple. But here's the other fact that people are not taking into consideration, because people get up in arms with this, right? You didn't hear anything about them kicking out gay, lesbians. No, it is strictly transgenders. So because I've heard a couple comments, they're going after the LGBTQ community. They're not,
dude. When I
not.
came in
They're
1980, when I came in the Navy in 1985, right? I mean, yeah, I think back then it was don't ask, don't tell, Bill Clinton or whatever. But you knew who the gay dudes were. You knew who the gay females were. I mean, we had gay guys in our commands, and stuff like that, but they and you knew it. It wasn't like they were hit on you or they were openly gay or whatever, but you knew they were gay. And we had a guy in our command. His name was Sammy. We used to call him Tammy. I mean, because he was openly gay, and we knew. I mean, but Sammy was deployable. He went on every deployment. He was a cool guy. He worked in supply. I mean, he didn't hit on you or anything, but we knew, about Sammy. So it's like, Sammy didn't come out and say, "Hey, I'm gay," or whatever. But we knew Sammy was. I mean, they're all over the military. We have them all over the military, and they're not being kicked. They weren't being kicked out in '85. They're not being kicked out in 2025. So, like I said, that's a bunch of hogwash because there's a lot of gay men and lesbian women in the military and have been forever, probably.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to tell you like this. A lot of them, you know what? They keep their lifestyles private. They, you know who they are, you know what they do, but they come
Right.
to work and they do their work, they do their job, and they go home and they live their whatever you want. I'm a big believer in, look, I don't care how you live your life. I don't. I really don't. I live my life a certain way. You live your life a certain way. You, Jerome, live your life a certain way. We all come to work. We do our job and we go home. Okay. What you do when you're in your household and you're in your private time, then I don't have nothing to do with that. Doesn't affect me one bit. But now, in which I'm getting ready to go to this story because you already know which one I'm going to talk about.
Okay. Yeah.
When you affect my time off because I have to pick up because you can't do your job, now that's an issue. So, like I said, I led up to that story. So, we had said individual transgender that was at my last command, and I told you about that. And pretty much when I got to my breaking point with this whole situation, we had CNR coming to visit. 4-star Admiral Norfolk coming to visit, right?
Right.
He's going to the graduation ceremony in Newport, so he's in dress blues. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, we'll sit down. We have a meeting with the sailors. Everybody's going to be in dress blues. Cool. Kick the sailors out. Now it's only the triad and all the chiefs because at the reserve center, you don't have a lot of chiefs, right? So we sit down and we're like, hey, so dress blues, we're going to do a dress blue inspection. And the transgender that we had, who just picked up chief at that time, was like, well, I can't do a dress blue inspection on my guys. I'm like, why? I don't have my dress blues. What do you mean you don't have your dress blues? You just made it through. You're literally 2 months out of final night. Why do you not have your?
You're supposed to have all your uniforms. You're supposed to have all that stuff.
Exactly.
All that
Hold
stuff.
on, it gets better. It gets better. So why do you have your uniforms? Well, when I was going through initiation, I bought all female uniforms. Were you a female at the time? No. Why would you buy female uniforms? You didn't know how long this process was going to take. And so it got pretty quiet for a second. And then I came out and I said, well, you know what? This is bullshit. Because there's 2 uniforms that a chief has to have ready at all times.
Exactly.
Dress blues and khakis.
Yep.
I said, my opinion was, you need to go buy those right now. And if you had to spend $600, sorry about your luck.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I got overridden. And all of a sudden, that person had an appointment on the day. So
Yeah.
you see, and the funny thing was that 2 weeks after that, that person was on there for Keiko duty.
Okay.
And that's one thing. Hey man, look, there's a lot of stuff that you mess around with in the military, but you don't mess around with Keiko.
Right.
You're on Keiko, you Keiko. That's important.
And for those that don't know what Keiko duty is, tell them what Keiko duty is. It's the military.
So basically, if a service member dies on duty, you're the one that's going to notify the family of that sailor's passing, and you're going to be there to support them, help them through the whole process, and kind of just make sure they're taken care of because that's a traumatic news,
Yeah.
But yeah, said the individual had Keiko duty, and I'm like, so I'm looking to my left, which is the SEO, and I'm like, what would we have done if we would have had a Keiko duty and that person cannot perform that duty? Oh, you're gonna call me at 4 a.m.
Right.
And I see what I mean? This is the problem, that it's not about what you want to do with your life, but it's just you can't perform duties. And now I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. So you know what? That was discussed, and I was like, well, guess what? Hey, you know what? I'm covering you for this time, but you better get your shit straight, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to keep covering for you. Why? You have a job to do just like I do. So
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, that a lot of service members say, they can't perform their duties, they can't go. I mean, it's not fair, and it's not fair to those that um, are deployable ready, and that have to be there, right? I mean, and it's the same thing, that Secretary Hegseth did with the qualifications of certain jobs. The women got have to do the same thing that the men have to do, as far as the physical test to go into combat, to, serve in some of these combat ready roles. Because it wasn't fair. Because you know how we did a PT test, men to pass, we had to have one thing, then the women, they got to do something less than that, to pass, for the same grade and stuff like that. But with Hegseth, he's like, no, 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 no. Now everybody got to do the same shit. Everybody got to do the same thing. If you want to be here, you want to be in this combat role, then you have to be combat ready just as well as the men are, right? I mean, so I commend that. I mean, but it's been like that for a while. But I mean, I think gradually, through the years, that I served 27 of them, and I mean, it got worse, and they got more lenient on the women or whatever the case is, especially in combat. I don't think women should have less of a performance standard,
A couple, yeah.
performance standard to serve in a combat role than a man does, because they're doing the same job. They have to do the same job, and I don't want anybody on my back or serving my back that can't, really hold my back. You can't, and I don't want somebody watching my six that can't really watch my six. And like Carolyn in the chat, man, she has a son. She has a son in the military, and she was like, "Get that bastard out." She said, I don't want them. I don't want them anywhere behind my grandson. God better have mercy on their soul, because I damn sure won't. If they don't know what sex they are, how do they know what to shoot?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, a lot of people feel like that. A lot of people in the military, but they're just so. I don't want to say scared, but I mean, people are reluctant to say anything because they don't want to, have ramifications. They don't want to cause any, too many waves, especially coming up on retirement, coming up on advancement, stuff like that, and they just go with the flow, or they get overridden like you did. I mean, you stepped up, you said something, you got overridden, and so I'm glad that, Hegseth came out and did this, because now it gives, I guess, people that courage again, to really stand up for the right thing, to really do that. I mean, me, I was always that guy, man, that stood up for the right thing. Hey, if it was, I always stood up for my guys, and if the shit was wrong, it was wrong, and I was gonna say it, regardless of what happened, But I mean, but I'm glad that Hegseth did that, because I think this is right. Like I said, I don't think any. I mean, if you had AIDS, I mean, people with AIDS are not deployable. They used to put them out, right? But now they make them undeployable. It's the same thing, right? But I think the transgenderism is even worse with people with HIV, that's in the military. Eventually they get kicked out, they're not deployable. But I think, but I mean, this is total mental illness, man. I mean, you can't
So
come in the military, being mentally ill. So
it is a mental illness, because I got to add on to that story, right? That transgender that I had, it was a male going to a female, right?
Mhm.
So now it's a male going to a female. I mean, cool. But then he would say he has a girlfriend, and I'm just like, you have a girlfriend, but you just went from a male to a female. And this is why that whole gender dysphoria thing comes out, because I'm like, I'm just totally lost.
So he had a real girl, a real girlfriend, or another,
female.
or a girl, a female, a legit female.
A legit female.
So why you? Yeah, see, that's
so that's what threw me for a loop.
So I guess his girlfriend was a lesbian and wanted a female.
I don't know.
I guess
at that point, I just kind of shut down Jerome, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know what you think about this.
That's amazing.
I mean,
well, it's not amazing. It's true though. That shit happens, man.
It tells you that this is a mental illness, because why? And he had kids. He had 2 kids and a wife.
Oh wow.
and chose to leave them behind to do this. And I'm like, I know your family, man. I know your family very well. Know Pat, your kids. I mean, like I said, dude, you're a family man. I know a lot of people listening are family people. I have 3 girls and 2 grandkids.
Yeah.
There is no way I'm leaving my family or doing something that's going to take me away from my family. Like,
Exactly.
are you kidding me? Like, what? So when they say it's something mental, look, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a mental doctor. But when you tell me you're doing a transition to go from male to female, but you still have a female girlfriend that's an official female, I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's crazy. I had a female, Laura. Her name was Laura, man. She's one of the best guests we had on. Actually got a lot of some of the most views on our show that we did. She was a detransitioner. She was a female that had transitioned
yeah,
to a
I watched
male.
it.
So you
I
watched the
watched it.
show, right? I mean,
Yep.
and even she said that it was definitely, a mental illness, thing. I mean, because I mean, not only within themselves, but the people around them. The people around them that push them to continue that lifestyle, continue that instead of getting them mental help. And she said, I mean, like the counselors and the therapists, they were they were absolutely no help. I mean, but for her, but eventually she did come across one that helped her and everything. I mean, but there's people out there, man, and and you can't have breakdowns, and you see a lot of these um, recent shooters, these recent, mass shooting people or whatever the case is, they've been transgenders, right? They've been all transgender people that are suffering from mental illness in one form or another. Because I know the psychotropic drugs that they're on, the homo. I mean, it's driving them fucking crazy, man. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, and having someone like that, can you imagine someone like that on a submarine or someone like that,
On a carrier.
on a
On a
carrier,
You have to get them
or
off.
even on a plane, man, that we flew on? Can you imagine, someone like that, man, that goes wacko, at 35,000, 40,000 feet on one of the planes, bro, that we're flying on, man? I mean, it's just, it's just some shit you just don't, want to have to go through, and in certain situations, and even if you're downrange, man, you're downrange, and this person has a gun, this person has a gun and behind you and goes psycho, man, and shoot you in the back. You know what I mean? It's just crazy, man. So I
She
mean,
caught you would have caught friendly fire because that's what they're gonna. Oh, friendly fire or accidental fire.
well, yeah, right. Friendly fire to, wouldn't probably even come out that they were transgender unless you did major investigations or whatever, man. What a
So
mess. What do you think? All right, so go ahead.
I got one more for you.
No,
So
take your time, man. We good. We're good on time.
so while I was up in Newport as well, you had an officer that his wife who used to take their daughter to the swimming pool, right? And just to show you how messed up the things were, and I hope they're going to get better with this. And you had a transgender that was in the female locker room,
Okay.
right? Now
On base. This was on base.
at the swimming pool on base. Okay.
Okay.
And this really bothered me. I have 3 daughters, man, and I'll do anything for my girls. So
Right. Facts.
she, whatever you want to consider them, is in the locker room, but they identify and did a transition to a female, but they still have male parts, right? Said individual is changing right in front of the little girl.
Wow.
The mother says, can you just have some consideration? Look, I don't want to argue with you, whatever is going on with you, but can you please have some consideration and don't do that in front of my daughter? I have the right to be here and I will do what I want. So now the mom goes grabbing the little girl, running out the gym. She calls her husband. Her husband was a lieutenant commander on base. So he goes up to the skipper of the base, says, hey, we need to talk. This is BS. Well, bullshit, because we're on the radical Republic, so I can curse.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man.
So
You
he
talking
said,
about BS, man. You're doing my
so,
show, man. You're putting it down. No, I'm teasing. Go ahead, man. We
so
good.
he says, this is fucking bullshit. And guess what happened? That dude, that lieutenant commander, got told he needed to go home. And they found a reason to force retire him because he was insensitive
Wow.
to that
He
culture.
he was insensitive to the pervert, to the pedophile dude, the mentally ill dude that was showing his cock into a little girl, changing in front of a little girl. Didn't even have the decency to maybe go around, the corner to another locker. See, and that's the thing, man. They want to force their lifestyle. They want to force this onto people. You know what I mean? And they used to claim, well, we just want to live our life. We don't want to mess with nobody. Now it's like, we want to fuck your kid, and we're gonna do whatever we want to do, in front of your kid to make them, sick or make them mentally ill too. Because I'm sure that was traumatizing for the little girl. I mean, see, bro, it's so many things go through my head. If I would have seen that, and if that would have been me, dude, I honestly would not have gone to the commanding officer. I would have went and whipped that dude's ass. That's what I would have did.
So
And
I
I
was
know,
about to say the same
so
thing, Jerome.
that's what I would have done.
Jerome, you know me, and when I was growing up in the ranks, I have a lot of money. I did some little side work that required
Yeah.
some muscle and some fist.
Yeah.
Man, I would have whooped the shit out of her. I don't give a fuck, and then call it what the fuck you want, and send me the mask, because you know
Absolutely.
what, as a
Absolutely, man.
father to 3 daughters, to just understand that man's pain, to hear that his daughter had to endure that, and the wife was trying to handle it in a proper situation, but to get told shut the fuck up, or matter of fact, get the fuck out.
Wow.
It's in Massachusetts. So guess what? Massachusetts? I mean, come on.
And they're safe spaces. In the women's safe spaces, and that's the thing, man. I mean, in these where, and Jamie, where are these feminist women? Where are the feminist women, that want to stand up to the men, these feminists that fucking destroyed the country? Why are these feminist women standing up against these men? They're in the rally corner for these men because they want to actually take women's places. The feminists aren't even standing up, man. I'm like, this is such bullshit. It is so painful to watch, what's happening in this country. Even the feminist women aren't even standing up for themselves. And the women aren't even standing up for themselves, but they'll stand up against a man. But you won't stand up against this man. Make it make sense. Make this make sense to me, man.
You know what? I would love to hear what AOC has to say about this whole thing. Because, guess what? She's busy fighting the oligarchy with whatever oligarch rolling the world with Bernie Sanders. But you know what? Her district right now is in shambles. And
Her district is a shithole. Her district is a
she's been
shithole.
there to visit? No. And that's why I challenge all these Democrats. Like, look, if you say you're about the people, why don't you start focusing on your people? Stop worrying about us. We're good.
It's not even about the people. It's just about it's about getting reelected. It's about keeping those millions in their pockets. It's about it's about that maintaining office and living off the people. That's what it's about. I mean, and she's going on with the biggest socialist communist grifter in Congress. This dude has never had a public job. He's always lived off the people. Bernie Sanders has always lived off the people. This freaking communist, and AOC, I mean, she might as well be. She's a communist too, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, and look at her district, and I challenge people. I challenged any liberals watching this show, any progressive, whoever watches this show. Show me one city or one state, one city, one congressional district, whatever, where there's a woman in charge, a black woman, Latino woman, a Democrat in charge, where their district or where their city or their state is doing well. And I didn't ask for 5. I only asked for 1. And of course nobody has DM'd me on that yet, but
you probably won't. But you got your people like Jadna Crockett. You know what? I cringe every time I see her on TV.
And she's down. It doesn't. Is she like down in Texas where you from? Is that the district? Is her?
No, I'm from New York. Hold on.
I mean, you're from New York, but who lives in Texas? Your daughters, your kids.
My kids.
Okay, okay, your kids. Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, she's in Dallas County. My kids live more close to the border down in South Mexico. North.
Yeah, South Mexico.
South Texas, North Mexico.
Yeah, North Mexico, Hey, but speaking of AOC, man, I'm placed right because she thinks AOC really thinks she's a badass. So they interview. I'm going to play this clip of AOC real quick because she talks a lot of head, man. She talks a lot of smack, and I mean, this is what I want to happen to AOC. I want AOC to get arrested. I want AOC to get arrested for aiding and abetting, illegal aliens. I want Tom Homan to go to New York. I want DHS to go to New York and arrest them because you have these congressmen, right, that went down. Of course, they went down to El Salvador. They won't even go to their jail to check on inmates in the jail where they, in their district or in their state, right? But they can go all the way to El Salvador and check on a gangbanger, a guy who's not even in the country. And then they had these Congress, this mayor and a couple of Congress, a man and Congress, two Congress women, go to New Jersey and basically rush the gate of this of this ICE facility, right?
Yep.
Then claim, oh, ICE this, ICE that, and so right now, okay, the mayor got arrested, of course. And I'm hearing that they are thinking about bringing up charges on one of the congresswomen that basically was body slamming DHS. And this is what AOC had to say, man. Like,
oh boy.
And now what DHS is trying to say, again, they're using public intimidation because they know that they cannot come for us all. They know that they cannot come for us all. And recently what they said is that DHS is allegedly looking into arresting members of Congress who were showing up for their legal and constitutional obligation to conduct oversight. If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem. Because the people who are breaking the law are the people who are not abiding by it. And it is enshrined in the law that members of Congress who show up to ICE and CBP facilities are required to be granted access, legally required to be granted access. And they legally cannot be inhibited from accessing these facilities to conduct their constitutional obligation to investigate and conduct oversight. So if Kristi Noem wants to break the law, that's on her. But it sure as hell is not someone like Representative Robert Menendez that needs to be arrested, okay?
But you can't bum rush a gate. You can't go down there. Yeah, granted access means that your ass wait until you get access. And it means you make an appointment or to go down there and get access, okay? Or you wait.
Proper paperwork, and you have everything in order, and they will escort you in there. You're escorted because just because you work in Congress doesn't mean you don't get escorted. No, you get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to wait. You have to follow the proper protocols as well, And like, what the fuck you gonna do, AOC? We're gonna have a problem. What you gonna do? Really? Really, what you gonna do? What you gonna do if they actually come for you, AOC, besides cry? Besides cry. What are you gonna do?
She tries to play tough. She's not tough.
She's not tough.
She's not tough. And I absolutely,
Jasmine Crockett's not tough. Like I say, Jasmine Crockett's not tough.
So I'm gonna tell you like this. I was born and raised in New York, like I already said, but I like you, Jerome, I was a long time Democrat until I saw the light. Like, hold on, why am I?
I wasn't. Hold on, bro. Hold on. I wasn't a long time Democrat though, bro.
Okay,
I mean, I grew up a Democrat, right? But I grew up in a family of Democrats, which we did. Okay, I give you that. But bruh, hey man, I voted for Ross Perot. I think the first time I voted, man, maybe Reagan. I think I voted for Bill Clinton, right? I did vote for Bill Clinton before, as far as a Democrat. I mean, but I was like, okay, who's talking the best game as far as money, bro? because I want to, I'm like, hey, who's for the rich people? I don't want to be for the poor people. And, and I've told this before, but that's what my dad used to tell us, man. Always vote Democrat because Democrats were for poor people. And I'm like, shit, who for the rich people, bro? Because I ain't trying to be poor, Dad. I mean, shit, we grew up poor. I ain't trying to be poor. So, but yeah, man. I grew up in a family. My sister is a staunch man. Me and my sister goes toe to toe right now because she is like the most TDS liberal in the world, man. I'm like, golly, that's why, when people say shit to me on the internet or Twitter, I'm like, is that all you got? My sister says worse shit to me than that. You gotta up your game, bro. Yeah, man. But yeah, man, go ahead. So
I swapped over, and I will tell you, it's when Bush Jr. was in office. That's when I swapped over. So it was just, I was in the military, and I'm like, what am I
So what
doing
made you swap over, man? What was the thing? So why did you swap over? Years and years of being a Democrat and shit, right? Grew up Democrat and, thinking, the Democrats, yeah, man, they're for us, man. They're for Hispanics. They're for black people, man. They're for the working man. But what was it that all of a sudden you're like, what, fuck this, man?
So
what happened?
I would tell you one was money. Because I'm like,
yeah,
I was in the military, and you know what? Democrats, all they did was take away from ours. And now you have a Republican in office. And
the president gave us the biggest raises. They gave us the biggest raises in the military, right?
So I'll be honest. I'm like, I'm going with that dude.
Right.
But just thinking back into my upbringing, where do people have the opportunity for growth? They talk a good game, but they always stay poor. You were always in the city. You always living off food stamps and Medicaid, and it's like I saw.
Dude, that's what I don't understand. It's like, man, I tell my family that, right? I look at my family. I still got, most of my family is still Democrats, but I'm like the MAGA cousin, right? I'm like, we're gonna have a family reunion here in July, and we got shirts made, and on the back, mine says the MAGA cousin, right? You know what I mean? Because all my cousins know, I'm a Republican, ran as a Republican, and I support Trump and MAGA, of course. Not really the Republican Party, but the MAGA movement. But and I'm like, the Democrat Party is always preaching this shit, and you've been voting Democrat all your life, and you're still like not doing well. You're not doing well. That most Democrats, most people that vote Democrat, except the elite, they have the elites now. Now, most big donors and rich, they're Democrats, right? They're big donors. The billionaires, most billionaires are Democrats. They have the money. But when you're talking about the working class, and you're talking about people, making I guess you could say in the poverty level, right? And you're looking at the Democrats, and it's like, but you keep voting Democrat, but you're still in the same situation. And you've been in the same situation your entire life. Why do you keep voting Democrat? Why do you keep doing that? And I know it's a Stockholm syndrome. I know what it is. I've called it out before. It's definitely a Stockholm syndrome and cognitive dissonance. But I'm like, man, what makes people do that, man? Like you said, it was money. So continue. I cut you off.
Yeah, it was money. And then, I was in the military, and I just seen that you notice if you've been around for a while, you look at how things are going, right? And Jerome, we've been around long enough. You always see when the Democrats in office, they're closing bases, making the military smaller.
Right.
And 9/11 hit. And we're like, wow, why are we closing bases right now? We don't need to be closed. We need everybody on deck, but they continue. Like I said, they wanted to close bases. Republicans are fighting, hey, we're going to increase the military budget. And, like I said, being in the military on September 11, 2001, I was like, Bush is my man. And I've never turned back. I've stayed a Republican ever since. So.
Right. I got somebody, my brother's keeper in the chat said, and I said this before, man, the word in the hood is that she's pregnant. She's all about abortion. She fights for abortion. She fights for women's rights, but she's carrying a baby. Apparently, he said the word in the hood is that she's having a baby. We're talking about AOC right now. And my boy said Ricans grew up because they were getting shafted.
It's true. You know what the funny thing is? It's a joke. And I think you probably heard this one before. Being Puerto Rican, come Christmas time, we open up gifts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people may get mad at me, but I'm Puerto Rican, so I can say this shit. You keep fucking around with Democrats. The only thing you're gonna be open opening on Christmas Day is fucking pateles to eat. It's just true. You know, you open up a patella and eat it. I mean,
Yeah,
dude,
facts,
you know.
man. You know, I mean, because when you look at it, right? I mean, even when you talk about, go down to Miami, right, and Little Havana, down there, down there in Miami, man. I mean, the Cubans, man, voted 98% for Trump, man. Down there, in the districts down there, 98%, man. They're like, yeah, man, we're tired of the Democrats, man, because man, the Democrat cities are hellholes, they're shitholes, man. And it's like, I mean, why do you want to live there? I mean, we talk about, it's one of the things that's big, that's big thing, and like I said, me and you like family, man. So I mean, so when we talk about, one of the big things that they're talking about now is this black fatigue, right? And and I mean, I know it's one of them subjects white people ain't gonna touch, right? Pretty much, white people, some of them are getting bold, right? But they talk about, the black fatigues. I'm gonna play some clips, man, right? I'm gonna play a couple clips. I'm gonna play, a clip from the white, pretty much the white liberal side. Then I'm gonna play some from a more conservative or more black side, right? I mean, when you look at it, you talk about I've been black, if we want to call it black fatigued for a long time because I mean, shit, after growing up, hell, I was black fatigued. I was black fatigued from growing up in the damn hood. Before my dad moved us to the suburbs, whatever. But I'm gonna play. Okay, so I'm gonna play this one first. All right, so. And I'm gonna get your thoughts on it.
Extremely racist, but something that I do believe in is white fatigue. And I don't mean that I'm fatigued as a white person. While I am fatigued, I'm fatigued by these other white people who are, I don't know if they're more stupid or they're more racist, way above average scoring in both of those categories. And those two traits form a coalition of white supremacy where they just make it impossible to exist without feeling so exhausted by having to explain this is not a normal thing to hear black fatigue and to think that black people are inherently worse. That's absolutely fucking insane. It's exhausting to have to say that so frequently that it's just you're just racist, and that it's exhausting. It's like talking to a wall.
Why is racism coming back? More buzzwords to justify it. The newest one is black fatigue. Before that, it was DEI. You understand there's never anything good enough for these races, right? Let's explain what black fatigue actually is. Black fatigue is actually a book on how racism erodes the mind, body, and spirit and explores systemic racism and its effect on black people. These racists aren't even smart enough to know the definitions of the words they're using, such as DEI. Why are we giving them any attention?
You can always count on Republicans to take the definition of a word and twist it to fit their own agenda. They did the same thing with DEI, where they made diversity, equity, inclusion a bad thing, which is insane to me because every single person who isn't a white straight man benefits from DEI. Now they're doing it with black fatigue. Black fatigue refers to the emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by the daily stress of living under systemic racism and its consequences. So basically the only people who really experience black fatigue are black people and the shit that we deal with, but now they're just tired of black people. So basically you're racist. Hello? I'm tired of living in a society with black people. I am fatigued. And then I've seen even some black people come on here and say they're tired of black people too. I'm like, bitch, are you good? What is going on? It's getting weird. And obviously these Republicans have always been good at doing this, always been good at changing the meaning of things and boosting it out to their following. And
white people who are appropriating the term black fatigue are doing so because their goal was to never see us happy in our blackness, be proud of our blackness, choose blackness over whiteness. Being is it that we make up such a small percentage of America, it's interesting to me how offended they are by maybe 1 out of 10 people, if they even know one of us.
If you're a white person claiming to have black fatigue, get bent. What do you think black people have? Oh, poor white people have black fatigue, so tired of being politically correct and treating them like people. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Black people in 2025 are still seeing instances every day where white people are treating them less than human. We had something literally a week ago where someone has raked in $600,000+ for calling a black autistic child the N-word after he took something out of her son's bag. black fatigue? You have black fatigue? What the do you think black people of color have in this?
Now you heard that, and I'm gonna play this one.
This is the first time I'm hearing this phrase on TikTok, but I could use context clues and understand what it is. So, funny story, I'm scrolling on TikTok, minding my own business, just getting lost in the videos, and a white woman pops up in my algorithm and it's titled Black Fatigue. And I'm like, this should be interesting. Now, this is a creator that I've really grown to respect their videos. Basically, in her video, she's calling out the black community for different ignorant things that we do. And it's not just her. I've seen a lot of white people on this app kind of come out. It's almost like, raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Regina George type of videos. And that's what they're doing toward black people. Here's the thing. The videos that I've personally seen is not racism. It's accountability. It's one of those to where they are tired. They are fed up to where they have opened their camera and they start confessing the things that agitate them about the black community. And because we have gotten to that point, you know who I blame? The black community.
Black fatigue is a thing. Newsflash. White people don't want to live around ratchet black people. And black people don't want to live around ratchet black people. I mean, it's nothing like going to the Walmart on a Sunday morning and then you see the bonnet crew walk in. Loud, obnoxious, the kids are everywhere, in every aisle, unattended. And that's anywhere you go, no matter what. They're highly emotional, highly sensitive. You can't say nothing. You can't even smile and hold the door for them because they'll look at you like you're crazy. And always the victim of something. Either you stepped on a shoe, you looked at them wrong, you told them good morning. They're never happy, they're never satisfied. And you wonder why normal, good black people move out of the hood as soon as they start getting successful. I was one of those black people that said, man, if I made some money, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna buy up this, buy up that. I'm gonna support the community. As soon as I got my money, I got the fuck up out of there.
So here's my honest opinion about black fatigue. Black fatigue actually exists. However, black fatigue does not exist in a way that a lot of non-black people think. It has nothing to do with race and everything to do with culture. It is the culture, the society, and the environment you are raised in. It has nothing to do with race, and it never was about race, because if it was about race, then every black person would be acting like that. Black fatigue is a poison well that is consumed by certain locations and environments. Another majorly important factor is accountability. If black people in general don't hold each other and others accountable for our and their actions, there will be no change within our communities. The destruction of property and violence, the need to be extremely loud and ratchet for no reason.
There's an interesting phrase going around these days. It's called black fatigue. When I heard that shit, I started laughing because I've been had black fatigue. I love black people. See, it's the difference between black people, you understand? And what it should be called is fatigue. Because even black people have fatigue. You understand? The ghetto ratchet bullshit, all the ignorant stuff that these people stand for, all the ignorant stuff that these people defend, all the weird shit that these people say, all the victimization and acceptance of the bigotry of low expectations and all the Stockholm syndrome and all that shit like that, all the random acts of violence that people want to ignore because it's black on black, which they also want to ignore and just say it's proximity crime, but no, it's black on black crime. It's an epidemic. Black fatigue is some real shit, and y'all are getting what the fuck y'all wanted to get when y'all wanted to perpetuate racism, because nobody in America is perpetuating racism but black people. Get out of your neighborhood and out from around all the rest of the bullshit people that you with to understand the reality of what's going on in the world. And what you will see is that it's people that look like me that's perpetuating racism, because white people don't give a fuck. They not running around talking about what our hairstyles are and you can't wear this and you can't wear that and you can't say this and you can't say that. It's weird, bro. It's weird.
So facts, man. I mean, so what do you think about that, Jamie? What do you think about
You know what? It's 100% accurate. Because you see it all the time, right? And it's not just black fatigue. It's Hispanic fatigue. You know, you get Hispanics that are, you know, they're cool, they're calm, go to work. And you got the other ones that want to act up.
Yeah, I mean, and what it comes down to no matter what racial group you're with, right? You can be white, you can be Hispanic, because you got the white trash, you got the trailer park trash that they talk about. They do the same shit that the ratchet black people do, and
Oh,
the
they do.
ratchet Hispanics do, right? People are tired of the stupid shit. People are
Hey,
tired of looking at the stupid shit. We're tired of seeing y'all fight at Walmart. I don't see it at Walmart because I don't live in the hood. So what I'm saying, right? But we're tired of seeing you guys fight at Walmart, tearing shit up in McDonald's because you didn't get your order right. I mean, stuff like but you see it all the time. And here's the thing is, right? Stop doing stupid shit. Right? If you're mad that people are talking about black fatigue, if you're mad because people are talking about black people and they're tired of your shit, stop doing stupid shit. Stop videoing the shit. Stop putting it on video. Stop putting it on fucking X and YouTube. Stop doing. Why do you have to go out and do stupid shit?
You know what?
These women go out to this Lululemon shop and they're in there tweaking on the Lululemon clothes down in Atlanta, Georgia. Why? Why are you doing that? That's just stupid. Why are you doing that? That people don't want to. And then you got them people walking around the store looking at y'all like, this is some stupid shit. That's why they black fatigue, because they don't want to see you twerking on the clothes that they might be buying. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. So it's all about, it's not even about race, man, right? It's about the stupid shit, right? White people tired of the white people doing stupid shit. They're tired of the black people doing stupid shit. Black people tired of the black people doing stupid shit. Tired of white people doing stupid. I mean, but it just seems like, you can turn on the internet. I don't care what your internet is. You just see more black people doing stupid shit. You just do.
Ghetto people in general, because
ghetto,
like you said, white,
and I'm not gonna even say black
white,
people. Like my man said niggas, right? He said niggas. I'm gonna say it. It's nigga fatigue. It ain't even black people fatigue. It's nigga fatigue, because that's who do that shit, right? Whether whether you're Hispanic, white, or whatever, that's who do that shit. It ain't black people. It ain't black fatigue. It's stupid ass people fatigue. You have to be black. You niggas, like you say. It just is what it is, man.
So
and you're tired of seeing it.
I'm gonna tell you a story, right? Giselle and me went to, I think it was vacation. We went to, I think it was Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Stay at a real nice resort, we're out just having a good time, right? We're at the bar, having some dinner, eating, drinking, right? And then all of a sudden you hear this loud ass, oh shit, look at this, what the fuck? Ah! And all loud and shit. And then, oh bitch, look at me. I'm like, you're on vacation.
You're right.
Leave that shit at home.
Leave
you
it
do
at the
that
house,
shit every day
man.
at the ghetto. Why the fuck are you doing that at a nice resort in Jamaica? Like, and Giselle, she looks at me and she sees that I'm irritated. And she's like, why are you irritated? I said, because they're fucking Hispanic from New York. I guarantee you. And literally an hour later, they were like, yeah, I'm from the Bronx, bitch. I'm like, I told you.
Oh, you right?
But and that's everywhere, Jerome. That's everywhere, every culture.
Yeah. Facts, man. Facts.
Hold on. I did want
to
get your opinion on something.
Okay.
I meant to send this to you about 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if I did because I've been busy with work. But did you see that raid in Colorado?
The raid in Colorado.
Colorado Springs, the legal nightclub, when ICE.
Oh yeah. Yes. I did see that. Oh yeah, they ran up and there was like 100. They arrested like 150 people.
It brought back some memories, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Look, man. Look, what you I don't. All right, so I'm gonna tell the story here. I'm gonna tell us what Jamie is referring to. Okay, when we both lived in Virginia Beach, right? Jamie used to be security and bouncer at this one club in Virginia Beach. I'm not going to name the name. I don't even think the club is there anymore, right?
It's not open no more.
All right, so so I used to go there. I used to go there because my boy was security. So shit, I used to get in free and go get my drinks on, And it was a 100, pretty much. I say 99.99%, right? Hispanic type club, right? Latinos, right? All Latinos. I probably was one of the only brothers in there. And it probably definitely wasn't no white people in there. I don't ever remember even seeing any white people in there, whatever. Yeah, you saw a couple of brothers in there. So I used to go in there and hang out with Jamie and stuff, right? And and this was at the time in Virginia Beach when there was a bunch of illegals. There's a bunch of illegals in Virginia Beach. And this is the club that they used to go to. I mean, great people, man. We used to go, they used to party, used to jam. You know, you're gonna have
spend some money
have a
too.
great time, right? You know what I'm saying? They spent their dollars. They spent their dollars, man. It was I mean, it was cool, right? It was cool. I don't like I don't have a problem hanging around, you know, Hispanics and Latinos and shit. And as long as just like black people, as long as y'all don't start popping off and doing stupid shit, right? I mean, so it was around this time. So went in there, and shortly, these two white girls got got in a car accident. This illegal ran into these two white girls out of Virginia Beach and killed them in Virginia Beach. It was a automobile accident, right? And ICE ran through fucking Virginia Beach after that. I mean, totally ran through. I remember going back in the club one day and it's just empty. I'm like, Jamie, where everybody at? Like, where's everybody? I said, man, ICE, man. The ICE, man. And hey, man, those people went underground. I think they went to North Carolina. They went to Northern Virginia. Wherever the fuck they went, they were gone. I mean, and you're talking standing room only in this club. I mean, you're talking like, you know, you're squeezing through Saturday night, man. You're talking about squeezing through and you're like rubbing bodies. It's so crowded in there, you know, just trying to get to the bar or whatever, right? Man, I went in there, man, like a week after that shit happened and it was empty. I'm like, wow, man. So yeah, so that's what Jamie. So I can imagine what that nightclub in Colorado, that bitch empty right now.
Oh no, it's closed. They
closed. They shut it down. Okay.
You
So
know,
yeah,
they shut
man.
it down. But it's funny because if you see the video, man, look, that place was packed.
It was packed. They were running up out there, man.
Dude, they had literally 300. I read the reports. 325 ICE, local police, FBI, DEA. All. I mean, literally,
they were deep.
Man,
yeah, they were deep, like 300.
but they were doing like illegal shit in there too. They were selling drugs,
prostitution.
Dude, and then so the other part was that I meant to send you. There were 8 service members that got arrested.
Right.
They were working security.
Right. Yeah. You know, I remember reading the article briefly on that. Yeah. Right. And there was some Navy guys. It was I think it was Navy guys. It was one Navy guy.
Army.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And they was up in there running security, man. Running, and they got busted. I don't know what happened to them. What happened to them guys? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, they're probably still doing all the, you know,
the paperwork,
military justice. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're going to UCMJ and probably getting, you know, Cap Mass, court martial, whatever. But yeah, man, I heard it was military dudes up in there.
But the problem is
security.
But here's the thing, Jerome. The problem is that these people, you work in that area. Everybody over there has a secret clearance or above.
Right.
You got Stricom over there, and you know Stricom is a big deal. So, and then you got the Army bases over there that deal with a lot of the nuclear stuff.
You got the Army bases. Yeah, you got those Air Force bases with the missiles, the missile bases.
Yeah.
You got Colorado Springs. You got the Air Force Academy right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's
these
huge.
people, these cats. I mean, they don't fucked up because they're probably gonna lose their clearances and all that other bullshit.
Oh hell yeah, man. I think they will. I think they definitely will.
Which is the problem. That's why we can't get the VC-25 program completed, the new Air Force One, as you know, because they're dealing with security clearance issues.
Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Man,
but
wow.
I saw that video, Jerome, and I was like, I meant to send it to you. I don't know if I got
total flashback.
And I was like, man, that brought back memories because it's like, wow, I could only imagine that would happen if I was still working there.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Me too, man. Yeah. If that was, because definitely ICE would have came through there major, be like, shit. There's the military guys up in there, man. I know, right? Man.
Yeah, man.
Dude, nah, man, those were the days, though, man. Those were the days. I mean, just like Tijuana, man. I mean, shit. Right now, man. I mean, I used to go down to Tijuana like every weekend, man. Now they're like finding graves down there. Before I close out, man, I'm gonna pump this up with Oscar Blue down there in Tijuana, man. It's kind of sad down there, man, because literally we used to go to Tijuana like every weekend when I was stationed there in North Island, Coronado, California. We used to go there every weekend. We'll pop this.
Oscar Blue, Ryan Mata. We are in a location in a really tough and rough neighborhood right here in the city of Tijuana, where more than 7 bodies have been found. And the 8th body we just recently found right here, it is a corpse, apparently a skull with a high caliber bullet in the head. And still they're having a lot of bone fragments and human remains. Your impression right here, Ryan, as we're going to do this small documentary with Ryan Mata and also everyday report on our page. Ryan, your impression?
I've never seen anything like this. It's an absolute war zone down here. You would think this would be an area over in Afghanistan or Iraq, somewhere where you're digging up mass graves and beheaded victims. No, this is everyday life over here in Mexico, and what the citizens have to deal with. The look on these women's faces when they found that body, I was expecting shock and awe, tears. They are so normalized and desensitized because they are out here digging up mass graves weekly, and every time they come out, or almost every time they come out, they end up finding a body. That's how many mass graves are all across this country. The entire country of Mexico is a giant mass grave, and if it wasn't for the reporting and the connections that Oscar has, I don't know when the world would ever hear or see this evidence. So thank you for having me out, and I appreciate it.
Yes, we are going to continue reporting for every single one of you. Be sure to be watching Ryan Mata's reporting. This is going to be explosive. The documentary that is going to put out, it's a lot of things that you're going to be in completely shock and awe, as children or so, minors are involved and being missing because of the cartel and the abductions and the kidnappings. And it is up to these collective groups and also some governmental individuals to find the bodies and to find the mass graves in really tough and dangerous locations right here in Tijuana. Ryan Mata, Oscar Blue, reporting from Tijuana, Mexico. Stay safe.
That's crazy, man. I had Ryan on the show. I'm gonna have to have Ryan back on the show. I'm gonna have to get Oscar on too. But that's crazy, man. What's going on down there? I mean, that's right across the border.
Bring me on so we can have the Latinos. You have ladies' night. We have the Latinos.
Yeah. All right, there you go, man. I'm gonna have a Latino night, man. I'm gonna have all the Latinos on, man. I have you, Ryan Mata, Oscar Blue, and some guys on, man. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do, man. So you guys can talk the Latino shit. I just run the show, man. Yeah, man. So that's what I'm gonna do, man. I'm gonna get that up, man. I'm gonna have a white boy show. I'm gonna have a white girl show. You know, some black sisters already had that, man.
Everybody, DEI, don't forget a group.
Oh shit, fuck DI, man. I don't believe in that shit. You know me, man. Yeah, hell with that. I mean, man, because the biggest advantages went to white women, and DI went to liberal white women. They had the biggest advantages. So, screw that, man. Screw that. So I had a bunch more clips to get to. And we had I know we're coming up on this, and I think I want to put this out. I'm gonna play this clip real quick. We're gonna close. I'm gonna go a little long on this, but I want to play this clip, and then
I got one more question for you.
Okay, yeah, man. All right, so go ahead.
Why is Comey not in jail?
Hey, my man, before you came on, I ran that clip. Comey should be in jail. I mean, look, Comey's not in jail because too many Republicans are compromised in Congress. We have too many weak-ass Republicans in Congress. And there are corrupt, because anyone else, like I said earlier, anyone else probably would have been in jail. Comey should be arrested. He should be in jail. He should have been arrested, maybe released on bail, yeah, or whatever the case is, man. But that son of a bitch should have been arrested. He knew exactly what he was saying, exactly what he was doing. And I played a clip too that the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, had it in her background, 8645, and she was on Meet the Press, and she had that in her background. So I'm gonna play this real quick because I think this is gonna be important in the week coming up.
Okay.
We are just 2 weeks away from the 5th anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. A half a decade later, some in MAGA world are trying to rewrite the history of that tragedy, calling on President Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin, the police officer convicted in Floyd's murder. Joining me now to talk about this and other topics is Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, who led the prosecutions in that trial successfully. Thank you for being on the show today, Attorney General Ellison. And
thank you, Reverend.
Let me go right to it. A federal pardon wouldn't have any impact on Chauvin's 23-year sentence on state murder charges that you won. So why do you think voices on the right, like Ben Shapiro, are pushing for a federal pardon?
I think they're pushing for it because they want to agitate and outrage people. But as you just pointed out, Rev, for those who may not know, I don't know if Trump's going to pardon Chauvin or not, but if he does, it doesn't change his prison sentence. He still owes Minnesota 22 and a half years, and he's going to do it either in Minnesota or somewhere, but he's not getting out.
All right, guys.
I mean, and that was my boy. Shout out to BCP Black Conservative Perspective. That was a clip from his show. I mean, so here's my take on that, right? First of all, I don't like Ben Shapiro. I think Ben Shapiro is a cuck. He's a racist Jew, and that son of a bitch wanted black people to get the jab, and he was mad that we didn't get it. So fuck Ben Shapiro, first of all, and second, I don't think President Trump should be worrying about that, right now. Anyway, so I say this, that my approach to this sensitive topic is really with deep concern, and that's only because yet with the I say the steadfast commitment to truth, since the sincerity and the compassion. I think the situation that we face undoubtedly is complex on this. It's emotionally charged, and the divisions within our nation continue to deepen. When you look at somebody like Ben Shapiro, you have to look at who controls Ben Shapiro to have Ben Shapiro come up and do that. And we're talking about MTG as well. Okay, but the call by MTG Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene for President Trump to pardon Chauvin has undoubtedly stirred, along with Ben Shapiro, undoubtedly stirred strong reactions with fears and, I would say potential civil unrest in Minnesota. Minnesota, they're going to burn their city up again if it happens. If they do that, they're going to burn their city up again, even though the guy can't get out of jail, right? So it's important to recognize that this is not merely a political move, but it's an appeal for justice, because they say that he didn't get a fair trial, and he probably didn't get a fair trial. I mean, you had Maxine Waters out there, you had people Congress, out there, outside the courthouse. I'm sure the jurors probably got tampered with or whatever. So so the trial of Chauvin, it was really undoubtedly shaped by weight of public sentiment. I believe in media narratives and political posturing. Many feel like I say that Chauvin didn't get a fair trial. But in context, the Representative Green, I call her Greed, but I said I had that on the show before. But Green's call for pardon may resonate with those who believe that justice should not be silenced, even in the face of a public outcry. But President Trump, known for his unwavering stance against the pressures of the crowd, may be seen as a leader who can change his decisions. And I understand the concerns and about the potential unrest, but we must be clear-eyed about the meaning of justice. So, who's going to say which way Trump is going to go, whatever. But, I'm telling everybody out there, we need to navigate this challenging terrain with empathy, wisdom, and steadfast determination to find a resolution that honors our shared values and fosters with a healing nation, not a divided nation, because we don't need to be divided anymore, in this nation. I mean, we face that every single day, with Democrats. The Democrats, they go out and divide us. And you have some Republicans out there too, like the Ben Shapiro's, right? Go out and try to divide the nation. So, we need to stop doing that. And for Reverend Al Sharpton, he's a piece of shit. He's always been a piece of shit. FBI informant, owes over $3 million in taxes, never spent a day in jail, and he's just a race baiter. So, I don't trust anything that Al Sharpton says. They're gonna push this George Floyd shit. I tell people, man, just stay out of the conversation. Don't even fall for the okie doke, man. Just stay out of the conversation. Don't even comment to these people on that shit. Just let the shit roll how it's gonna roll. And don't let that shit become a distraction.
But you got to ask yourself, why are you bringing that up now? Because I guarantee you, if Biden would have been in office, this would have been a mute subject.
Because they're losing. Because they're losing.
Exactly.
They're
So
losing.
why are you bringing this up now? Because it caused so much a divide back when this happened, and people are martyrs. Let's be real. People are martyrs. Oh, you know what? We gotta stir some shit up. We got to start some shit back up because things are quiet. You know what?
Absolutely.
And I had a couple of notes over here, so I'm sorry, but
Go ahead.
like you said, Al Sharpton. I grew up in New York.
I'm about to say you grew up around old boy.
Yeah, I remember when he was 300 pounds.
Right, fat Al Sharpton, fat Al Sharpton with the perm. He still got the perm. But fat Al Sharpton, the hustler.
He lost like 100 and something, 150 pounds. He used to be big.
Oh yeah, I remember fat ass Al Sharpton when he first came out with the process hair.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing: like, things are, you know what? Here's the thing that bothers me, Jerome. We have to start that narrative now. Somebody has to start that up, right? You know what? Because things are going well,
right?
And this is why people are martyrs. Because look at the amazing week that our commander in chief had overseas. In the Middle East, got treated with royalty, made deals, talked to the leadership over there to bring peace to the region. Shit, oh, you can't pick from that tree no more. Well, let's see what else we can stir up. And let's stay here at home. Oh, let's bring
Breaking
George
news,
Floyd
Saudi
thing.
media just gave Trump a new title, the true president of the world. When Trump arrived in Riyadh, it wasn't just diplomacy. It looked like a coronation. He was greeted with golden sabers, white Arabian stallions, and a royal motorcade fit for a king. It was imperial treatment. Saudi outlets called it a tribute to power, something no U.S. president in history has ever received. But Trump didn't just bring symbolism. He brought $600 billion in investment deals. He brought the world's attention back to the Middle East on his terms. He signed a $142 billion defense agreement and launched a U.S.-Saudi AI alliance. Even more shocking, Trump lifted all sanctions on Syria during the visit. Meanwhile, Biden is still struggling with domestic chaos, inflation, and collapsing approval ratings. So why is Saudi Arabia backing Trump and ignoring Biden? One Saudi anchor went viral for saying Trump no longer represents a party. He represents power. And when your allies start calling someone else the real global president, that you have to ask, who really lost power?
I mean, that's what you're talking about. That's what you're talking about right there, man. I mean, you can say what you want to say about Trump, whatever. I mean, but he's doing, he I think, bottom line, he loves America. Bottom line, and with this trip overseas, with this trip over in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and all over the Middle East, I think that's a big finger to Netanyahu, to be honest, which is good. I mean, which is a good thing, man, because I don't want to see President Trump bought. And I know, AIPAC, they send a lot of money over here to help him get reelected, but I don't think you can buy Trump like that. And so, we're yet to see, I think it's some great deals, it's bringing money back, to the United States. And, I know some people said some bad things. I have clips out the ass, man, but I got to play this one too before we roll.
Fell asleep at a meeting in Saudi Arabia. Fake news. I closed my eyes for 2 seconds deep thinking, smart thinking. I just flew 12 hours, no sleep, straight into high-level talks. And guess what? I still ran the room. No teleprompter, no naps, unlike Sleepy Joe. They call it dozing off. I call it global strategy. America's back. Stronger, smarter, and wide awake.
Whoever did that, kid, man. That shit's awesome, bro.
you know what? It brought back memories of just being in that area. When we deployed to Bahrain and stuff, Jerome. I love that area. We've never really had a problem there because we go there.
Yeah, man. When we go there every year, man, we go there to Qatar, Bahrain. The UAE. We go to Abu Dhabi. We go to Qatar. Go to Doha. We go to. We went all over the Middle East, bro, and we never had any problems. Never, dude. I love Middle East. Love Saudi Arabia, man. I mean, shit, bro. And we spent some time there. We spent some time there, weeks at a time in Qatar, man. I think I was in Qatar one time for a month. Over at the base in Qatar, man. And everything. I've been to Syria. we've been all over the Middle East. We've never had any problems. Never had any issues in the Middle East, man.
But like Trump said, hey, it took somebody to go there to bring the right stuff to the table. And it was amazing to see how they bent over backwards and treated our president, our commander-in-chief, like he's the man.
Yeah, as it should be. As far as that, I have some more, but I won't play any more of those videos. But yeah, man. Shit. They treat him, definitely like royalty over there. And like I said, and I think, as far as the president of the United States, that's where the president of the United States, how the president of the United States should be treated, because that's how America should be treated as number one in the world, because we are number one in the world. We're, like Carolyn just said, our government is the greatest show on earth. I know what she's talking about, though. But it could definitely be a circus, Carolyn. Definitely be a circus, man. And so, but yeah, man. So we got, Reverend Al is a pimp. Yeah, man. My brother's keeper down. He down with that, man. Over there with Tawana Brawley and stuff. Yeah, man. So yeah, man.
And like I said, it's just racism. There's a topic that I want to get to. We won't get to today, but we'll probably come when I come back. The whole thing with that the track stabbing in Dallas.
Yeah, man, we'll get to that next time, bro. That's fucking another half hour, though, bro. That's definitely another half hour.
Yeah,
man.
I've been wanting to ask your opinion on that. Like
No,
I
all
said, we'll
right,
talk
fuck it. Let's
off.
go into it, man. Let's go. Let's just go, man. I say we might go long tonight, man. I mean, here it is.
Whatever.
All right. So here's my short take on it, right? Because I've been around, athletes, right? I've been around, I've been on school grounds. I've been there, right? Um, the shit. What's the black kid's name? Shit, I took a fucking.
Hold on. It comes.
Because I forgot. But anyway, shit, I don't care. Because it wasn't on my agenda today, so I
No.
wasn't thinking
I'll
about it.
tell you.
But,
It's Carmelo Anthony.
okay, so Carmelo Anthony was wrong. He was 100% wrong. He never should have had that knife in his bag on school grounds. I mean, there was no reason. They were there for football practice, or they were there for, track camp, whatever it was, track, whatever the fuck it was, right? I mean, dude, you have skirmishes all the time, man, but you don't pull a knife out and just stab somebody in the fucking heart, bro, and just stab somebody like that. I mean, I think he went there with bad intentions, because even if you don't, let's just say this, right? Even if you don't go there, you have the knife, but you don't have bad intentions, right? Okay, you might get in a scuffle first, and then you might pull out the knife. Dude just went straight for the knife and just went bang, So, from what I understand, I haven't seen footage and all that shit, but, I'm gonna let the trial play out, or whatever the case is. Should the kid be out on bond or whatever? I don't think so. He committed murder. It is what it is, man. He committed murder and, brutal stabbing of the kid. Whether, he said he was protecting himself. Yeah. I think they're gonna have a hard time saying that was self-defense. They're gonna have a very, very hard time saying that that's self-defense. And it is what it is. Don't at me. Don't be fucking filling up my DM box. But it is what it is. It's just my opinion. I think they're gonna have a very hard time saying that's self-defense. And and just what I know from being in the hood and coaching, being a coach in the hood, just being in the hood. I mean, we have dudes in the hood. They just don't do that. You just don't do that with bad intentions, bro. So. Now, and I know why they're doing it. I know why they're saying all this, because they want the trial moved. They want the location moved to Dallas. They don't want it where the trial is being held now, because they're going to say he can't get a fair trial. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to move it to Black Dallas. So so the jury pool could be more black, and try to get him off, or whatever the case is. But I still feel they're going to have a hard time. So all right, but go ahead, man. What's your
Frisco is like 73% white, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I lived in Fort Worth, so I know the area very well. But so we were talking about Al Sharpton, the guy that's representing him, that's supporting the family.
Yeah.
Convicted felon. Convicted felon.
He's a convicted. He has a rap sheet longer than fucking Carmelo Anthony, bro. He does. And this is the guy. You can't make it up, man. You can't. This is the guy that's representing the family, or the spokesman for the family, and he's a fucking convicted felon, and he has, a rap sheet fucking a mile long. I'm like, this is the dude that y'all got. This is the dude. I'm surprised you guys didn't go get Crumb or somebody, man. At least Crumb might, at least he can, maybe raise some more money,
Well, he
like
beat
that,
he beat Benjamin Crumb to the punch. He beat him to the punch.
No, okay.
They didn't have a chance for him to show up.
They have a chance to get
The
Crumb
minute,
up.
the minute this happened, he was on.
I mean, I know he's family. He was a friend of the family, so he was there first. He was a friend of the family, man. But this dude is like almost illiterate. He can't talk, speak well, or anything. But it is what it is, man. I mean, I'm gonna wait and see, and that's gonna be another racially charged case, man. It's gonna be another racially charged, possible verdict or whatever. Either way. But it's one thing I know, right? It's one thing I know, and here's what I do know. If Carmelo Anthony comes out innocent, he comes out not guilty. Let's say not guilty. He's not innocent. Let's say he gets off for manslaughter. He gets off for or if he gets off for self-defense, right? I know those people in Frisco, Texas ain't gonna burn up their damn city.
No.
They ain't gonna burn up their damn town. But let him get convicted, Dallas is gonna burn. Dallas is gonna burn, because niggas are ignorant like that. It is what it is. Y'all some ignorant motherfuckers, and that's what I'm talking about black. Why the fuck you gonna, burn up your own damn cities and where your jobs and your businesses and everything at? And you ain't going to Frisco to burn shit, because they gonna be waiting on your ass. You ain't gonna do that. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna do that, right? But I know, if it goes in favor of Carmelo Anthony, white people ain't about to burn up their shit. That father ain't gonna burn up. They ain't gonna go burn his house up. So that's
Did you see that the father showed up?
Yeah, he
at the
went.
news
They kicked him
conference.
out.
Yeah, they kicked him
Yeah,
out.
yeah, they kicked him out, man. Yeah, yes.
Like,
I mean, now that I don't know if I would have showed up there if I'm his dad, right? And I probably wouldn't have gone to that news conference. To be honest, I mean, if you want to hold a news conference, hold your own news conference, man. And have your own news. I mean, don't I mean, because that's just that was a provocation. I think. I mean, you just that's like going to the funeral, bro. That's like they family showing up to Austin's funeral. That would have been some fucked up shit. What I mean, for them to show up to the funeral, man. So no, I didn't agree with dudes showing up to the press conference. That was some bullshit. Hold your own news conference, yo, for real.
but here's the thing. Like I said, remember we were just talking about it. Like, there's got to be something. Trump will not get through his presidency
You're right.
without
Yeah.
having a major racial incident going on.
Yeah.
Trust and believe what I'm saying.
No, I feel you.
Trust and
I
believe.
feel you on that. It's gonna be some burning going on soon. It's definitely gonna be. I mean, because these people are just nuts, man. They're just psycho. And you look at, Herman Jeffries. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries. And look at all these Democrat leaders, man. They are pushing for it. They're out here every day. We gotta go to the streets, man. The hate, man. They're gonna steal your Medicaid, man. Blah 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 blah. I mean, and that's all they want to cry: racism, racism, racism. Look, man. I live in one of the whitest areas in America, one of the whitest states in America, and I ain't faced no racism. If there was racism in America, I would have been faced it by now, man. I am happy I don't hear no damn police sirens every day. I am happy I don't, read about gun shootings and people getting shot every day. I'm happy I can go to my fucking pool in my backyard and chill. I can walk my dog down the street. I ain't got to worry about shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it is what it is, man. I'm just gonna be true. And most successful black people, they don't live around black neighborhoods. They don't live around black people either. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, it's a bad thing. You want to live around black folks, live around black folks. I don't care. People might not want to live around me. Shit. I don't care. But the fact of the matter is that, when people get successful, we don't want to deal with the bullshit and the drama. It just is what it is, man. Down where you live, man. I know you ain't living around no bullshit. Down there in Florida, whatever the case is. I know how you live and how you and Giselle roll. Y'all ain't living around no damn bullshit either. You know what I mean? So it's like, is there racist people in America? Yes. There are racist people on both sides. And there's always going to be racist people. I know some of the most racist people are black people that I know, right? And I know there are some racist Hispanics and racist white people. But the bottom line is the racism is racism. There's not a big racism problem in America. If you get your ass, like a boy said, you get your ass outside of your, mailbox. You travel around America. Get out of your city, man. Black folk, get out of your city. Travel America, right? And you will see that the racism problem is in your damn neighborhood because you foment most of that shit. Jamie, we travel the world together, brother. So it's like, racism is because people make it racist or try to make racism happen. You keep talking about it, yeah, it's gonna keep coming up. But overall, racism is minute in this country, and I don't give a fuck who says it. I don't care if any of you social justice words, you white guilt people, guilty white people that feel, white guilt or whatever the case is, and black Negroes that want to talk about white supremacy. If you feel inferior to a white person and want to think they superior to you, then keep running your white superiority theories on yourself, because that's not me. And that's just how it is, man. But overall, America is not a racist country. Sorry.
I was born and raised in New York, and I'm gonna tell you like this. People ask me all the time, would you ever move back to New York? And I look at them, I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah, man. It's like I was born in Cleveland, man, and that's why I've never went back home, man. I'm like, no, I would never live back there. Fuck no, hell, no way in hell.
Pay me enough money to move back to New York.
No, man, not at all, man. I would never move back to Cleveland, Ohio. It's just not happening. It is just not happening. And even places in Virginia Beach, I wouldn't even move back to Virginia Beach right now. Virginia Beach is getting so bad, man. Like I said, Jamie, look, man, and this is the truth. I don't even know what a police siren sounds like no more, man. And that's the truth, bro. That's the truth, bro. I don't, because I don't hear that shit, man. You know what I hear at fucking night, man? When I'm laying in bed, I got my window open. I hear trains in the fucking distance, bro. I hear trains, man. I don't hear all this bush. I don't hear gunshots. I don't hear sirens. I hear a fucking train in the wind, man. I can actually lay there and listen to the train and fall asleep, man. You know, I'm like, hey, bro, that's what I want. That's what
Well,
I
I
want.
still
Leave
hear,
all that other bullshit. I ain't trying to hit.
I still hear gunshots, but it was because a JSO retired JSO officer. He has like 2-acre lot behind us.
Oh, well, that's different, man. He just
Takes
be
his
back
guns
there
out
shooting on
there.
his
Oh yeah,
land.
no.
Yeah,
So those are the only guns I hear.
yeah. Nah, man, I hear you, bro, man. So,
Yeah, but
all right, hey, man, hey, bro. You know it's always good to catch up with your ass, man. Love
yeah,
you, bro.
man.
And,
I
man,
love you too, man.
Thanks for coming on the show again, man, and giving your perspective, on the transgender thing, man.
Yeah, man.
And we going out, man. We going out like this tonight, so we're gonna pump it up. You know, a little nostalgia. This is from Grok. Grok made this. This is one of my outtake songs. So Jamie, love you, man. And we're gonna check you on the flip side, brother. All right. Hey, y'all be cool. We'll see y'all
All right,
next
brother.
week on the next Radical Republicans live show next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna be here. Love y'all. Y'all have a great week. Peace.
Hey, kid, yeah, look together, spotlight taking something that you know to change the weather. But California calls tonight, so stick around. You're gonna hear electric music, solid balls of sound. Say, can you know you haven't seen them yet? Ooh, but you're so fade down. Benny and the Jets. Oh, the wind and the wonderful. Oh, man, she's a really king. She's got electric boots. I'm more hazoo. You know I'm better than a magazine. Oh, Benny and the Jets. Hey kids, look into the faces, maybe they're blinded, but then it makes them midgets. We shall survive, let us take ourselves along. We'll fight out there inside of the streets to find who's right and who's wrong. Oh, Candy Mom, haven't seen them yet. Oh, so way down. Benny and the Jets. Oh, it's weird and wonderful. Oh, man, she's a really queen. She's got electric boots. I'm no hazoo. You know I'm ready than a magazine. Oh, Benny and the Jets. Benny and the Jets. Out there waiting the wonderful. Oh man, she's a really queen. She's got electric boots. I'm all hazoo. You know I read it in a magazine. Oh, Benny and the Jets.